head of grants management, and they apparently that's where a lot of disagreement comes in.
And we're going to get that in a moment, but I want to be really, really clear for our listeners too. But one of the issues was not that the living room wasn't paying the rent for these folks, to your knowledge.
As far as to my knowledge, if they got the money that they were distributing.
So this might have been some other either management or administrative issues.
Yes.
Okay, this is where now becomes like a late night soap opera, because now there's a new twist or new drama, however you want to put it, involving allegations. There's been a lawsuit. It involves living room. As much as you can.
20 seconds. All right.
No, I need a little longer than that.
So Living Room filed this lawsuit against the city of Atlanta and Karen Carter, the head of grants management, earlier this week. And basically they said that the former director of Office of Human Services was retaliating against the executive director of Living Room because that executive director spurned the sexual advances of the head of Office of Human Services. There are a few other allegations made in that. There's several others as far as grants management, not being open to working with Living Room, refusing to have a meeting after Living Room tried to say, let's talk about these issues that you found. There's, several things were listed that they are making allegations against.
But we'll get back to that in a moment, because I want to be clear on something else too. Are there other agencies that are still waiting for are all the agencies waiting, or just some of the agencies waiting?
Oh, there's it could be close to all. I mean, there are many agencies waiting for their money, because this issue goes beyond Living Room. I mean, this lawsuit actually is a big deal, and there was already the dispute that was leading to evictions, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But it goes way beyond that. There are 8 agencies that they're looking for emergency aid from City Council. It's pretty bad.
The voice you hear is Patrick Saunders. He's a reporter with Project Q, and we're once again talking about issues with the federal program, the HOPA program that the city of Atlanta manages to help folks living with HIV/AIDS and their housing assistance. Let's back up a little bit, because what has the city said, Patrick, in terms of being able to get the money to these agencies? Let's start with there. Have they said anything?
So they haven't said much. We've had probably about 4 stories in the last week. There's been very little outside communication from the city on what's going on. They did say, we did get a statement from the mayor's office yesterday, basically saying that they've been talking with all the agencies about the ways to fix this, and that pretty much this plan that they have is imminent, that a plan is coming.
Well, a plan is coming, but meanwhile, folks have either been evicted or have been presented with eviction notices. I've also heard that some folks have had their utilities cut off because that's part of the payment too. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, so the city of Atlanta, they terminated Living Room's contract on July 3rd. So it kind of goes this, so basically nothing happening from there on out.
So they've terminated that contract.
Yes.
Based upon compliance issues that come from HUD, the city can do this?
That is within their reach as far as I understand it. Obviously Living Room is arguing that the reasons for it don't merit the termination of the contract.
That's the lawsuit.
The lawsuit, correct. They basically, the city's take is they're not under HUD compliance. They need to follow HUD compliance in order to get the money. Therefore, number one, we weren't giving them the money. Number two, we need to terminate the contract, and if they find homes for all these other people, find homes for the Living Room clients.
But that doesn't speak to the issues why the other agencies haven't been given their money.
Correct.
Because either they're in compliance or not, or all of them out of either you in or you out.
They're not. I could safely say they're not all out of compliance, especially not on the level that Living Room allegedly is.
Meanwhile, in a letter to Mayor Bottoms, there have been 2 letters, but there was one Monday, and you had a lot. I mean, there were some very familiar names. I think almost up to 90, dozens and dozens of whether they're researchers, academics, physicians, advocates. They sent a letter to the mayor, strongly worded letter saying, well, first of all, we've pretty much lost confidence in your administration's ability to handle this, and they also had some other demands as well.
So and that list, by the way, it's this. These aren't just rookies that are on this list. I mean, these are a lot of these people have been fighting
Dr.
HIV/AIDS
Carlos
going back
Del
to
on here.
Craig Washington,
Yeah.
Melanie Thompson, Jeff Brown. I mean, there's a lot on there, including several members of the mayor's LGBTQ advisory board. And basically, the two big asks. There are several things I think that they want corrected. The two big asks are these agencies need to get reimbursed their money immediately. Number two, because that's always been the main thing, is they need the money. Number two, it's that the HOPWA program has no business being under the purview of the Office of Grants Management, and the better solution for that is to put it under Continuum of Care Department, which is run by Partners for Home.
Has the state or HUD weighed in at all?
No. There are select state representatives that are just involved in HIV issues. State Representative Park Cannon in particular, that have tried to speak on behalf of this, tried to solve issues regarding this problem. But HUD has not stepped in. The states, just as a whole, or the governor has not stepped in and done anything yet.
I reached out to several Atlanta City Council members. Nobody wanted to go on the record to speak, but to your knowledge, is there any rumblings of the city council trying to do anything?
So this same group, and tell me if I'm jumping ahead, but this same group of people who sent the letter on Monday also sent a letter on Tuesday. This is following the city canceling a HOPWA advisory council session,
Which they've done on it before.
They've canceled 4 out of the 5 of these meetings since the council was founded in January. Excuse me. So yesterday it got canceled 15 minutes before I actually showed up, and there's a security guard tells me someone had put a note on the door just a few minutes before I arrived saying, we're going to cancel this. There were a couple reasons listed, and that this plan to fix all this is coming. But to your question about city council, so these group of 190 to 100 people, they've requested in the wake of that meeting being canceled yesterday. City council is on a 2-week recess. They're asking city council to come back in session for a special meeting on HOPWA and figure this out. And one of the things they want them to figure out is they want to expedite this $1.5 million in emergency aid that's now under consideration in city council.
Patrick, do you know of anyone who has literally been evicted? Not just facing evicted. Do you know anyone who's...
We haven't spoken to anyone, Drake. I know there have been evictions, but we actually have a couple people that we're going to be speaking to that are pretty much on the verge of it, and that are to kind of get this the direct people, because those are the ones that obviously everyone's doing all this for, is to figure this out for them.
And as stated in this letter that the collective group sent to Mayor Bottoms and her administration, they're saying that this problem really could hurt in the efforts to try and end the epidemic.
Oh yeah. So what you're going to hear from up and down, any HIV activist, researcher, doctor, housing is health. So basically, homelessness drives the HIV epidemic. Atlanta is number 3 in the nation as far as new rates of HIV infection, according to the CDC. If you are homeless, a lot of other priorities fall a lot farther down, and your health is not going to be one of those main priorities. And so if you are living with HIV, getting to the pharmacy to get your meds, going to the doctor to get refills, just getting regular doctor visits, it's going to be almost impossible to do that.
Well, and your location plays a big part of that, because perhaps if you rely on public transportation, or if you want to be in the city of Atlanta where you have easier access to get to all those things that you mentioned, that's important.
Exactly. Especially in a city like Atlanta, which, we might have had our fair share of transportation issues. Yeah.
You have been covering this since last year. You've covered a lot, not only just with the city of Atlanta, but also Fulton County. Is there anything that Fulton County officials can do?
So there is a task force that's been working on this. There was a year delay in the Fulton County Commission actually convening the task force, but they have been meeting every couple months. It's a pretty very knowledgeable group of stakeholders in this. They basically, their job is to institute the plan, this plan to end HIV in Atlanta. That was worked out 2 years before that on a separate committee. So they are meeting regularly. They talk about HOPWA, sit in those meetings. I mean, this is a regular topic, and it's a major topic.
When they talk about it, what are they saying?
So I think a lot of it comes out of stuff that comes out of this letter. So I think that way they're able to connect with a lot of other people that are trying to solve this problem. I think the big thing for this letter coming out, which I know many people on that Fulton committee had a hand in this, was consensus. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes rare that you get that many people and that many cooks in the kitchen, and people can agree on, okay, what's the way forward to do this? And it appears everyone has, for the most part. So that's kind of going from there. And then I think some people have been more reluctant than others to sort of press down the gas as far as how much to press. But from the people I'm talking to, they're running out of patience, and it's getting bad out there.
Meanwhile, the housing fate for dozens of folks remains unclear. Patrick Saunders is a reporter at Project Q, an online and print publication covering LGBTQI news and information, and a little bit of entertainment. Mm-hmm. Y'all get into that every now and then.
Every now and then.
Patrick, thank you so much for your reporting. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me back, Chris.
Support for WABE comes from Morehouse Healthcare, a reliable source for wellness, healthy living, and preventive health education. Morehouse Healthcare's extensive physician group places emphasis on providing quality medical care to Atlanta's multicultural community. And from Wren Wealth Management Group. Financial advisor Pat Wren, author of Finding Your Money's Greater Purpose, and his team have overseen the financial affairs of local clients for 35 years. More at RENNwealth.com.
On the next Fresh Air, Randy Rainbow. He writes and performs satirical songs about President Trump set to the melodies of show tunes. His videos go viral on YouTube. Songs like this, borrowing the melody from The Wizard of Oz.
You would probably start crying, then rehash all the lying and rhetoric you've preached.
Join us.
All the Dems would be smirched
this afternoon at 2 on 90.1 WABE.
You're listening to Closer Look with Rose Scott. Missed part of today's show? Don't worry, you can catch all our conversations at wabe.org/closerlook. And we want to hear from you. Send your feedback to Rose at wabe.org. Again, that's Rose at wabe.org. Stay tuned to 90.1 WABE, Atlanta's choice for NPR.
Tremaine Perry realized there wasn't a coffee shop in his neighborhood.
3 miles down the road, there's a large coffee chain. Where I live, there's nothing. No place to get a good cup of coffee.
So he opened one of his own. Hear the buzz behind Southwest Atlanta's new coffee shop and other Closer Look Open for Business stories.